Welcome back to Give Me Five with Jones and Eli, and welcome into our second ever guest pod. And today we have a great friend of the show, Harlie Patel, here to talk about something near and dear to his heart and really to all of our hearts, because during COVID, video conferencing software and apps became essential to working, staying in touch, going to school, all of the above. So Harlie, once and for all, answer us this. What is the best video conferencing software?
First of all, absolute honor to be here. It has to be Microsoft Teams. It's not even up for debate. I mean, it's a no-brainer to me. Not only do you have access to an infinite host of various Microsoft applications, you got your Words, we're talking your Excels, your PowerPoints, but you also get access to a crystal clear, absolutely 4K camera experience. I mean, there's nothing better.
Well, you said there's nothing better, and I will tend to say, okay, I like Microsoft Teams. I use it more in like a work setting, but it's decent. First of all, I want to say we need to pay tribute to the GOAT, the original video conferencing platform, and that's Skype. Okay, I know it's not really used anymore, but back in the day, nothing better. Getting on the old computer, hopping on a little Skype with the boys. You got the little reaction buttons. That was the original thing. I used to think I was living in the future when I get on Skype. Now when I get on a video conferencing platform, it just makes me sad. But Harley, well, I will agree there are some really good things about Microsoft Teams. For me, it has to be Zoom, right? Zoom is the face of the video conferencing game. There's no doubt about that. When 2020 was there, when we started getting into these kind of conferencing apps, Zoom was the name on everybody's lip, on everybody's tongue. When you think back to those days and people say, oh, back in the COVID days, we were on Zoom. We missed school, we were on Zoom. I had Zoom school. We were the Zoom generation. Remember the Zoom days? Nobody says, oh, remember we were on Microsoft Teams? Nobody says that. You said we were Zooming. Nobody says we were teaming. Zooms is the face of the app, face of the franchise. It is clear, far and away, of anything else. You see that little blue video camera, you think Zoom. I don't even know what the Microsoft Teams logo is. That's how not even relevant it is in this conversation.
I call shots, just do it like Nike. No FaceTime, but the people want to
Skype me, John.
Skype me. Exactly. Classic. I'm glad you brought that up because Skype was the beginning of it all. But clearly that's been phased out by this point. And you know what? Zoom's great. Zoom was big during COVID. And, I wish I had invested in Zoom early in that March 2020 period. And my grandpa actually did. And it just went absolutely to the moon. So smart investment if you were able to invest in Zoom kind of that early. But the GOAT, we're talking about the GOAT, not the best investment, and that has to be Google Meet. Now, when I went back to school, and maybe I'm a little biased here, but I didn't go back to school on Zoom. I went back to school on Google Meet, and Google Meet has all the best features that Zoom has kind of poached from Google Meet and then kind of passed off as its own. But Google Meet has the best breakout rooms, right? Talk about collaborating in smaller settings. So you're in a class and then you break out into a smaller room of some of your peers. Google Meet had that. They had the best polling features, the best commenting features, and it really just felt like a little family when you were in a Google Meet, which Zoom always feels a little too corporate and industrial for me. So, shout out to Zoom for doing what like Instagram couldn't when it tried to steal Twitter. Obviously Threads just fell on its face there. But they were actually able to steal things from their competitor and kind of pass it off as this is part of the Zoom brand. But come on, it was Google Meet.
Listen, I'm hearing a lot of past tenses here. I'm hearing it was the best, it was this, it had the best breakout rooms. I thought, Zoom 2020, we're in 2023, an era's come to an end. And I think this is the dawn of Microsoft Teams. You say Zoom's was the face of video conferencing. Would you say Ronald McDonald was the brains and the genius behind fast food? No, you wouldn't.
Yes, yes, I would say that. I would say that.
I'd have to say no. There are so many people. Like there's so much behind the scenes that you don't understand. And Microsoft Teams, it may not be the most fancy, but it's something that it's tireless behind the scenes. It's a low key kind of video collaboration software, but it does.
Who do you know? Who do you know working behind the scenes at Microsoft Teams?
Listen. It's a family friendly. I think there's a much more family feel. You see your Larry Pages and your this and your that. Bill Gates. We got to talk about one of the OGs. He's one of those that you go, that's the man. That's the man.
This is the problem. This is the problem with both of you. No, this is the problem.
To work for.
This is the problem with both of you guys right now. Jones just said, oh, Google Meets is so much less corporate. You just said, oh, we're so much more of a family-friendly environment. No. Microsoft Teams, what is it? Microsoft. Google Meet, what is it? Google. They're part of bigger corporations.
Zoom is a huge corporation. Don't even start with me.
It's corporate. They're big corporate things.
I can't believe what I'm hearing. I cannot believe this.
No, huge companies. Zoom is its own thing. Zoom. When you go to Zoom, you're locked. You're dedicated to Zooming, right? Google, they're working on search. They're working on Google Images. They're working on Google Maps. They got so many different cooks in the kitchen. They're not focused like you have to be in this industry. Microsoft
Zoom is a $22 billion industry.
Okay, because they do well.
What even is a Zoom? What's a Zoom?
Zoom locks in.
Name for a second. What is a Zoom? What's a Zoom?
What do you mean? What's a Zoom?
I get Google Meet. I know what I'm doing. You're meeting people, Teams. There's some sort of collaborative. What is a Zoom? Tell me what is a Zoom.
You're zooming in. It's like it's invented its own word.
Where? Am I writing off somewhere?
If I say I pulled a Jones, you know exactly what I mean. So
what does that mean? What does that mean? I have no idea what that means.
That means I did something stupid. If I say I pulled a Harley, you know what it means as well. If I say I pulled a Harley as well, you know what it means. So when I say I'm zooming, you know what Zoom means. When you say I'm meeting, you just think I'm meeting on the street. It doesn't have that same kind of backstory behind it that Zoom really does.
Because you deleted half the word. I'm Google meeting. You would know what that means.
Nobody says that.
Yeah, but
I tell you, this week I've said it not Google Meet, Microsoft Teams. I've said I'm Microsoft Teaming maybe 3 or 4 times this week.
But Harley's right. The greater point here about Zoom is, what is the inception of the name? Because we could say that, like, when you say I'm snapping somebody, you know what that means because of Snapchat. But the reason that Snapchat is called Snapchat is because people would say, like, oh, I'm snapping a photo, like before that. What does Zoom connect to video software? What's the connection?
There's no connect. There isn't any connect.
There is. First of all, it's actually a really complicated thing that I don't know if you guys will understand, but it makes a lot of sense. First of all, you think about how these things work. Ask a technology person. When you're on the airwaves, right? These little things, these little cell signals are zooming back and forth to each other. No, Matan. Second of all, you can zoom in on a TV, right? You can zoom in on a phone, on a computer, right? You can zoom in. So it's showing you can get that. Lastly, I would say Zoom, like I said earlier, zooming in, it means like making bigger, magnifying. It's showing you can magnify your life and share these small moments of your life in a bigger way with more people. And finally, I know I said lastly, but I'm gonna say one more thing. It's Zoom. It's defines itself. That's the beauty of it. If I invented a thing and I said this is gonna be called Apple, nobody knew what that was. People say, what the fuck is Apple? But now, when you say Apple, they know it. Zoom made a name for itself. That's the beauty of it.
Look. If you're starting to compare Zoom to Apple, I think we're starting to get a little off track here. You almost say it's Zoom only focuses on video conferencing like it's a good thing. I want a company who kind of knows their chops around, who knows how to slice it and dice it in other categories. Zoom, first of all, the camera quality is so bad. Secondly, it's so inaccessible. There's a 40-minute cap if you don't have Zoom Premium for like $800. So you're on Zoom, right? You're in the middle of an important business deal. You're proposing to your girlfriend on Zoom, and then you just get cut off. Are you kidding me? What if I'm telling you the most important secret as I'm dying? I know the secret to life. I'm about to tell you. I'm like, son, this is the only thing you'll ever need to know. And then my Zoom video conference ends. Are you kidding me?
I mean, you said it's absolutely ridiculous. But one thing I also want to point out, because, I have this debate a lot amongst other work colleagues. And you know what they tell me? They tell me, Google Meets, it's a free application. The last month I got I had a really important email I was looking out for. I was on my Gmail, I was looking for this email, nothing came through. I was like, what's going on? Checked my Gmail, I'd been locked out, I'd been banned from my account. And I was like, I'm starting to stress here. I've got work the next morning. I'm like, what's going on? Turns out they're now charging me. They are charging me every month. And they said until I pay the charge, I can't access my emails. I can make a new email or and I think it's completely ridiculous. So people talk to me about price, but Google are the worst. And what I can say to that is Microsoft Teams, you would not get that. You get trust. You get loyalty with Microsoft. You do not get with the Larry Pages of the world. Bill Gates, you got the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I mean, it's just something that I want to invest in. It's something that I know is a good cause.
No, I don't know about that. And I also think about the accessibility part. Jones talking about you're on your deathbed last second. Zoom's going to cut out. You know, if you send me a Google Meets on your deathbed, it's going to take me about 85 minutes to sign in because I got to make an account. I got to link it with an email address.
You don't have a Google account? Everybody has a Google account.
And I got to wait for you to let me in the lot. It just takes 18 hours. Whereas if I send you a Zoom link, you just click it and you're in. Microsoft Teams has a better case over Google Meets, but it's also shit because who uses Microsoft? Everybody uses Apple and all that other stuff. Microsoft, irrelevant. Maybe in work settings it's good, but Zoom is the OG. Shout out Skype, but Zoom's number one.
Oh, this has been Give Me Five, the double shot edition. Big thanks to Harlie Patel for coming on and giving us his take. Agree to disagree. Gentlemen, thank you so much for talking.